Hey, so here we have Star Wars Destiny Spirit of Rebellion booster box opening. This is my first box that I've got from this set, so I'm pretty excited to get into it, see what we've got here. Keep our fingers crossed for some good pulls. Make 2 more cuts on this box here. There we go, in. Awesome. Right, let's get into it. First pack. I'll try and keep the dice as hidden as possible so we don't spoil any surprises here. So, what have we got? Our first pull is the Outer Rim Smuggler. I believe that card has had a rule change related to it, so though I don't actually know what it is. Some kind of broken mechanic that they've fixed up. So here we go with our next pack. And the Con Artist. Pretty cool for some Mildex. Great. I'm going to spin through these pretty fast. You guys know what cards look like. Just going to see what we get here. Oh yes, the first legendary, the Handcrafted Lightbow. I reckon this is going to be a pretty fierce weapon. It hits that sweet 3 resource. And yeah, some pretty consistent damage there. And explosion. It's going to be interesting to see whether that gets any play. Cool. I've seen quite a few pulls so far on YouTube and not a single Emperor Palpatine. Oh wow, here we go, 2 legendaries in a row. Z6 right control button, or Z6, I'm British aren't I should remember that. Yeah, I reckon this is going to be pretty solid, again in that sweet 3 spot, and just damage. Excellent. Here we go, what's this, pack 5. Oh yes! What did I just say about no Palpatines? Here we have the Emperor himself, Sheev Palpatine. Again, I still don't know how much this is going to play out in games, whether he's going to be usable just because of his high cost, but you never know. He's cool and he's definitely going to be very, very sought after. So I'm super happy with that. And what's that? That's 3 legendaries in a row. Excellent stuff. Cool. And I'll rejig where I'm putting everything because I'm going to run out of space very quickly if I'm not careful. Okay, I'll do a quick summary at the end of all of the pulls so that you guys can see what we get here. Oh, Lone Operative, nice. It's going to be another useful card, I reckon. New orders, that's the second one of those we've got today. I like seeing more Lando. Everyone needs more Lando, right? So this is one of the packs that's stuffed sideways into the box. Now, in the previous set, these were often legendaries, but clearly not this time. However, very, very happy to pick up FN2199. He's going to be, again, the 10 cost. It's cheap for some consistent damage. If you good to pair with some blue villains, get some melee going. Excellent stuff. Allure of Power. First card to not have sides that don't have don't have symbols. I reckon that's going to see quite a lot of play. And the I'm Not Quite Dead card for this set. And the useless card for this set. Excellent stuff. There we go. Oh, Death Trooper, excellent. Want to get a few of these knocking about. Obviously with the ability on Krennic's card, having plenty of Death Troopers in your back pocket is always going to be a good thing. Now, Makashi Training. I'm not so convinced by this one. I never like a die that's got a lot of modifiers on it. That's going to be interesting. That would not be very helpful if you were playing a Palpatine deck, especially if it was a solo Palpatine deck, because you'd start with only 2 dice. Okay. Now, Rocket Launcher. Again, been a lot of talk about this one. Another legendary, so that's legendary number 4. 4, yeah. A lot of talk about this one. Some scary sides, but you're going to have to be making some serious resource generation. Something on here. Ooh. Serious camera fail. Let me just rejig this a little bit. Cool. Okay. Now the Astromech. I reckon this is going to be used a little bit. It's one of the few cards where I really don't like the artwork personally. Yeah, we'll see what happens with that. Obviously, it's good if a serious vehicle deck comes together, which I just don't think really works at the moment. Yeah, we'll see. Speaking of vehicles, again, I'm not quite sure how this fits. Blue, ranged, we'll see. Cool, I'm seeing some cards here that I haven't seen before. I don't think I've ever seen Our Only Hope. I haven't done a great deal of research yet as to all of the things that weren't spoilt. It's a pretty decent. Pull something out, and if it doesn't work, you get your resources back. Yeah, it's pretty good, although most dice with focus sides don't have values over 2, and most of them are 1, so I'm not going to pull much of anything else out of that. I don't think there's any situation where you'd want something that's not focus. Carl Plutt. Thanks for showing up, dude. Bring your portions with you. Excellent. I've spotted that we've picked up a couple of bait and switches, which are always good. Yellow clearly is still the strongest colour class, I reckon, at the moment. Especially with cards like this knocking about. Vibro-Knucklers. Always good. You're spending resources, but you get a 2-2-3. 2-3. That's a pretty decent die when you're spending resources when you resolve it. That's pretty cool. Although 2 resources, I guess you meet, like if you had a 3 melee damage die, you can spend 2 resources to make it 6, and 6 damage happens all in 1 turn. It's pretty useful, I suppose. Oh, I think I might have spoiled that one. Maz Kanata. Very interesting. Seeing her at Elite with 11 cost. Yeah. She's interesting. I don't quite think she's as good as the hype that's been going on, but I don't play Tabletop Simulator, so I don't really know. Force Push. Very pleased to see this guy show up. It's basically the means that Force Throw is now no longer in a blue deck. Which is fine. I quite like Force Throw personally, but that Force Push is definitely going to go into my blue decks ahead of it. And this is what are we now? 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the 5th legendary, so we're almost halfway through, but we've almost had all of our legendaries. Bowcaster. I'm again still not quite sure about this. 4 cost, it's nice that it has redeploy, that makes it feel more like a 3 cost in my book. But not completely convinced by its special. Dice sides are alright. Okay. Well, that's going to be a character. There we go. The Royal Guard. I don't know about you guys out there, but I don't use the Guardian ability on any of my characters that have it. Maybe that's just because I'm not very good at the game, or maybe it's because I never really feel like I desperately need to use it. Interrogation Droid. I'm a big fan of support. Depending on the deck you're playing, I don't think there's that many decks out there, at least obviously before these new cards have come out, where they're so reliant on the battlefield to work. As in, you need to be claiming every round. Sometimes you want to claim, yes, Vibro Knife. These are all the cards that I didn't get. The equivalent to all the cards I didn't get in the first set from booster boxes. Things like Holdout Blaster, I never pulled any of them. So this is, it's nice to see that I'm getting the kind of elite level upgrades. What was I saying? Oh yeah, decks and battlefields. I don't play any decks from the first set, where, oh yes, getting some decent characters here. I'm quite pleased with the character pulls. Yeah, I mean, you can't top Palpatine, but yeah, Jyn Erso, Palpatine, FN 2199 or whatever he's called. Yeah, 2199. Memory. Yeah. I'm pretty happy so far. Cockbot, Maskanata, Royal Guard. Yeah. And Rebel Commando. The characters continue. Fast hands, that's the first fast hands we've seen. That's a nice one to have in for the ride. Wonderful. Kind of running out of space here a little bit. Chirrut Imwe. Wow, we're getting some decent synergy with characters and weapons here, because we've got the handcrafted light bow pretty early on, and obviously the riot control button with the FN 2199 seems pretty synergy. So maybe our last legendary is going to be Force Lightning. That would be cool. Yeah. I haven't really paid any attention to the battlefields on this in this set. Resolve up to 3 of your dice showing damage. Wow, that's a sprint claim, isn't it? See, like I was saying, running and sprinting to claim the battlefield has never really been part of my game plan, because I just don't like leaving. Like, let's say you've rolled out all your dice. Let's say you're in your 4th action, let's say, and you're thinking of claiming the battlefield. Likelihood is, unless it's really early in the game, likelihood is that your opponent has at least like 3 or 4 more actions that they can take, and I don't like claiming and then just have to sit there and take whatever's coming. Yeah, Acolyte. We're bringing in the characters today. This is character heavy box. Yeah, removing shields is always pretty cool. Yeah, I just don't like sitting there whilst my opponent can just do whatever they want. But I guess if you're jumping into to a nice dice roll and you want to just get it off all in one go, I like this card simply because Ben Kenobi wrote a book. I personally don't really think it's that useful. 3 blanks, and essentially the blanks just give you the card draw action. So essentially it's you hit a resource or you're going to mill yourself a little bit. I don't like that. But I'm sure there's plenty of people out there playing the game who think that is really nice, who don't play games where they're regularly running out of, or getting close to running out of cards even when they're not playing against a mill deck. I'm a very big discard to reroll guy. I'd much rather discard a card to reroll than get to draw another card out of my hand, if you know what I mean, in terms of card economy. TIE Pilot, excellent. That'll go nicely with Mr. Veers from the first set. A resolve, good to see, yeah. Elderly Han Solo. Excellent stuff. Really should have planned out my desk space here a little better as to where I was going to put all of these stacks of cards, but we'll deal with it. Personal shield. I quite like the look of this card. Claim the battlefield, force an opponent to deal 2 damage to their characters distributed as their wish, and it's a support. So if you are doing a sprint to claim, you can get some serious damage going on that's unrelated to dice, and that's always good. Excellent. I've seen quite a few of those cargo holds go past. eBay, there they go. There they come, there they go, whatever. Some of them will be going on eBay, because I don't need that many. Oh, Snap Wexley! Again, I like this card just because it's Snap Wexley, and if you watch the films and read the books, mostly read the books, you know that he's a pretty cool guy. So, yeah. But the card, not so much. Although, great against battlefield sprinters. There's quite a few Ewok villages come out of this box as well. But that's fine. Don't mind having dupes. So, carry on, we're 20 minutes in here. Lovely. DC-29 Heavy Blaster Pistol. See, I think some people have been reading this card wrong. It's remove an opponent's die showing a resource cost. It's not showing a resource. So for example, the Bowcaster here, if that die is on the 4 for a resource, you can get rid of it, but you can't get rid of a dice showing a resource only as a cost. So pretty good for dodging big damage, but I'd much prefer that was discard all resources, because it would have the same effect. But you know, we can't all have nice things, so that is what it is. I'm getting towards the end of the box here. Maybe 5 more packs to go through. There we go with our next pull. Chewie! So the synergy continues. We're just showing the Bowcaster. There's Chewie. Again, I'm not entirely sure how much play Chewie's going to see. But you never know. There might be some way of getting it to fit somehow. We'll see. Yeah. Now, if there's one thing that's going to make me super happy from this pack, it's going to see C-3PO now. I think that's going to be one of the absolute breakout cards from this this set, because it's so useful. Again, it's an interesting weapon. I reckon this is probably going to be used in my Blue Villain decks as a stepping stone to a 4-cost upgrade. That's another reason why I tear through cards quite a bit, is because I discard an overlay, because it protects resources and it means that you've always got dice out there rather than saving up. And if you combine that with the Starship Graveyard, Jakku Battlefield, then you know, when you feel like you need a few more cards to come back, you can just dig in your discard pile and pull back all of those lovely cards that you threw away earlier. Oh. I telegraphed this pull. Smuggling freighter. Yeah, well, that's useless. Or at least, if it isn't as useless as it comes across, then someone needs to tell me, because that looks like a dead card to me. If it was an upgrade, fine, because like I was just saying, you could write over it. But as a support card, terrible. Mon Mothma. Excellent. Another card that I don't like for the card. I like it because it's Mon Mothma. But we'll see. We'll see whether she takes the place of Akbar in the mill decks. Because focus and rerolls with events. Pretty good. Life deck. I haven't seen that before. It's pretty nice. Especially if you've got some second chance going on. and your opponent is just refusing to kill your character with second chance, you can force the damage over onto them. Pretty nice. R2. If I'm not going to get C-3PO, then R2 is the second best droid you can find. Yeah. Who can't love a die with no blanks? Even though there's not a great deal going on. But resolve one of your die, increasing its value by 1. That never, ever goes to waste. Excellent stuff. And here we are with the last pack, just making sure nothing's stuck up in the top of the box there. Sometimes they can get a bit wedged, especially when you're pulling them out from the bottom, as I've been. And the E-Web emplacement, nice. Again, I'm a big fan of supports. Again, and ties in if you've got a good battlefield deck. 3 cost for not bad sides. I mean, 4 damage sides is pretty nice. You're going to get some consistent damage so long as you've got the resources to pay for it, obviously. So that's fine. Like, if that was a 2-cost card without the ability thing, then that would be fine. But a 3-cost, and yeah, if it fits in the way you're going to play the deck that it's in, then this isn't essential. Probably goes in before any of the vehicles, like the TIE Fighter or whatever. Excellent stuff. So that's the end of that box. I'll just quickly recap our legendaries. We've got Chewie and his Bowcaster as a pair. We've got the Z6 Riot Control Baton. What else have we got? We've got the handcrafted light bow. And I'm going blind here, looking for, there it is, it's kind of hidden it. The rocket launcher, it's very exciting, and obviously the one for this box, which is Palpatine. Oh, I'm a bit wonky here, aren't I? Yeah, so there we go. That's there's legendaries, and then I think aside from those, the highlights for me is pulling in Chirrut Imwe to go with the light bow here. That's pretty nice. And obviously we've got FN2199 to go with his riot control button. I like that. Synergy's everything, man. And then obviously we've got Jyn Erso over here. We've got the Vibro Knife, Unkar Plutt, who's going to be a lot of fun. Force Push, which is going to be a lot of fun, and Vibro Knucklers, and Death Trooper. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that box. Thanks, guys. So I'm going to do a few more boxes. I've spent far too much money. I'm going to wrap this one up and maybe see you again for the next one. Thanks. Bye.